On the mystical flower fruit mountain, where lush green trees reached for the skies and crystal clear waterfalls cascaded down rugged cliffs, something extraordinary was about to happen. This mountain, hidden away from the eyes of mortals, was a place where nature thrived in harmony, and the air was thick with the scent of wildflowers and the songs of birds. In the very heart of this mountain stood an enormous stone, as old as time itself, sitting quietly under the golden rays of the sun. One day, as the first light of dawn kissed the peak of Flower Fruit Mountain, the stone began to glow with an ethereal light. The sky turned a brilliant shade of pink, and the winds whispered secrets as they danced through the trees. Suddenly, with a crack as loud as thunder, the stone split open. From its heart emerged a small monkey, unlike any other. His fur shimmered like the morning dew, his eyes sparkled with mischief, and his movements were quick and agile. This was no ordinary monkey. This was Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. From the moment he took his first breath, Sun Wukong was filled with a boundless energy. He leaped and tumbled across the mountain, exploring every nook and cranny with childlike wonder. The other animals on the mountain, from the smallest insect to the mightiest tiger, watched in awe as this magical creature made his way through the world. It wasn't long before they recognized him as their leader, their king. And so Sun Wukong became the king of the monkeys, ruling over Flower Fruit Mountain with joy and laughter. But even as he played with his fellow monkeys, swinging from the tallest trees and diving into the deepest pools, Sun Wukong felt a restlessness deep inside him. The mountain, beautiful as it was, could not contain his curiosity or his ambition. He looked up at the vast sky and wondered about the world beyond his home. What more was there to see? What more was there to learn? Driven by this thirst for knowledge and power, Sun Wukong decided to leave Flower Fruit Mountain in search of greater wisdom. He bid farewell to his monkey subjects, promising them that he would return stronger and wiser. With a final look at his beloved mountain, Sun Wukong leaped into the sky, riding the winds like a bird. His journey had begun. Sun Wukong traveled across oceans and through deserts, scaling the tallest mountains and braving the darkest forests. Along the way, he encountered wise sages, powerful demons, and ancient spirits, each holding a piece of the knowledge he sought. He learned to harness the energy of the earth, mastering the art of martial combat. He discovered the secrets of the heavens, gaining the ability to fly on clouds as swift as the wind. And perhaps most astonishing of all, Sun Wukong learned to transform his body into anything he desired: a tree, a bird, even a drop of water. As Sun Wukong grew in power, so too did his confidence. He was no longer just a monkey. He was a being of immense strength and limitless potential. But with each new ability he gained, his thirst for more only grew stronger. He was determined to become immortal, to never be constrained by the limits of life and death. As the Monkey King's powers grew, so did his reputation. Tales of Sun Wukong's incredible feats spread far and wide, reaching even the highest realms of heaven. The Jade Emperor, the mighty ruler of all the gods, heard whispers of a powerful monkey, causing quite a stir in the mortal world. At first, he paid little attention. After all, what trouble could a mere monkey cause? But as the stories of Sun Wukong's strength and cunning continued to grow, the Jade Emperor began to grow uneasy. Up in the celestial palace, the Jade Emperor sat on his golden throne, surrounded by clouds that shimmered like silk. His advisors, gods of great wisdom and power, whispered among themselves, their voices carrying the concerns of the heavenly court. "Your Majesty," one of the advisors spoke, bowing low. "This monkey, Sun Wukong, has grown too powerful. His arrogance knows no bounds. If we do not act, he may one day challenge the very order of heaven." The Jade Emperor stroked his long beard thoughtfully. He knew that simply sending an army to subdue Sun Wukong would not work. This monkey had defeated every foe he had encountered. Instead, a more cunning plan was needed, one that would allow the Jade Emperor to keep a close watch on the unruly Monkey King. "Let us offer him a position in heaven," the Jade Emperor declared, his voice calm and measured. "We will bring him here, under our control, and give him a title. It will soothe his pride and keep him out of trouble." And so a messenger was dispatched to Flower Fruit Mountain. He found Sun Wukong lounging on a stone throne, surrounded by his loyal subjects, the monkeys chattering and playing in the lush forest. The messenger, dressed in the finest robes of heaven, bowed deeply before the Monkey King. "Great sage, equal to heaven," the messenger began, using the title Sun Wukong had given himself. "The Jade Emperor has heard of your many great deeds. He recognizes your talents and has invited you to join the celestial court. You will be given a position of great honor in heaven." Sun Wukong's eyes sparkled with excitement. An invitation to heaven? Surely this was a sign of his growing importance. Without hesitation, he agreed, eager to see what this heavenly realm had to offer. When Sun Wukong arrived in heaven, he was awestruck by the beauty of the celestial palace. The halls were made of jade and gold. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the gods themselves walked among the clouds, their robes glowing with divine light. But as Sun Wukong was led to his new post, his excitement quickly turned to disappointment. "The Jade Emperor has appointed you as the keeper of the heavenly horses," the messenger announced, pointing to a vast stable filled with the most magnificent horses Sun Wukong had ever seen. Their coats gleamed like silver, their hooves sparkled like diamonds, and their manes flowed like rivers of silk. Sun Wukong stared at the stable, his face twisting in confusion. Keeper of the heavenly horses? He had expected to be given a position of real power, perhaps a general or a minister. But this was a job for a servant, not for someone as great as himself. "Is this a joke?" Sun Wukong demanded, his voice rising in anger. "You brought me all the way to heaven to take care of horses." The messenger shifted nervously. "It is a position of honor," he insisted, but Sun Wukong was not convinced. He felt humiliated, tricked by the Jade Emperor into accepting a role far beneath him. His pride wounded, Sun Wukong stormed out of the stable, his heart burning with rage. That night, as the stars twinkled above, Sun Wukong made his decision. He would not stay in heaven and be treated like a lowly servant. He would return to Flower Fruit Mountain, where he was respected and adored. But he would not leave quietly. He would show the gods that the Monkey King was no one to be trifled with. And so, in the dead of night, Sun Wukong abandoned his post. He leaped onto a cloud and flew back to his mountain home, his anger fueling his every movement. The winds howled around him as he vowed to prove his worth, to show the Jade Emperor that he was equal to the gods themselves. As he landed on Flower Fruit Mountain, the monkeys greeted him with cheers, unaware of the fury that simmered beneath their king's calm exterior. Sun Wukong smiled, but it was a smile filled with determination. The Jade Emperor had made a grave mistake, and soon all of heaven would know the true power of the Monkey King. Sun Wukong's return to Flower Fruit Mountain was greeted with celebration. The monkeys danced and sang, overjoyed to have their king back among them. But as the festivities continued, Sun Wukong remained silent, his mind focused on a new goal. He had been humiliated in heaven, but now he would show them all what the Monkey King was truly capable of. He would not be a mere servant. He would be the great sage equal to heaven. The next morning, as the sun rose over the mountain, Sun Wukong gathered his loyal subjects. The monkeys crowded around him, their eyes filled with curiosity and anticipation. Sun Wukong stood tall on a rocky outcrop, his golden eyes blazing with determination. "My friends," he began, his voice strong and clear, "the Jade Emperor has shown me that the gods think themselves above us. They believe they can control us, command us like servants. But I tell you now, we are no one's servants. From this day forth, I declare myself the great sage equal to heaven. We will no longer bow to the gods. We will stand as their equals." The monkeys erupted into cheers, their voices echoing across the mountains. Sun Wukong's words filled them with pride and excitement. Their king, their beloved Sun Wukong, was challenging the very gods themselves. They were ready to follow him, no matter the cost. Sun Wukong wasted no time. He began to train his army, teaching the monkeys and other creatures of the mountain the art of combat. Under his guidance, they learned to wield spears, swords, and bows. They practiced day and night, their skills growing sharper with each passing day. Soon, the once playful and carefree monkeys were transformed into fierce warriors, ready to defend their home and their king. Word of Sun Wukong's rebellion quickly spread throughout the heavens. The Jade Emperor, upon hearing of the Monkey King's bold declaration, was furious. He summoned his most trusted generals and ordered them to bring Sun Wukong to justice. The first to be sent was the celestial general, Li Jing, a mighty warrior known for his strength and skill in battle. With a gleaming golden armor and a sword that could cut through mountains, Li Jing led an army of celestial soldiers to Flower Fruit Mountain. When they arrived, Sun Wukong was waiting for them. With his magical staff, the lucky stick, in hand, Sun Wukong stood at the entrance of his mountain, a confident smile playing on his lips. "Great sage, equal to heaven!" Li Jing called out, his voice booming like thunder. "You have defied the Jade Emperor and broken the peace between heaven and earth. Surrender now and you may yet be spared." Sun Wukong laughed, twirling his staff with ease. "Surrender? I think not. If the Jade Emperor wants to control me, he'll have to do better than this." With that, Sun Wukong leaped into battle. The lucky stick grew to the size of a mountain as Sun Wukong swung it with incredible force. Li Jing and his soldiers were caught off guard by the sheer power of the Monkey King. One by one, they were knocked aside, unable to match Sun Wukong's speed and strength. Li Jing, seeing that he was outmatched, retreated to heaven to report his defeat. But the Jade Emperor was not deterred. He sent another general, the mighty Erlang Shen, known for his third eye that could see through any disguise. Erlang Shen was a formidable warrior, and he was confident that he could bring the rebellious monkey to heel. Erlang Shen and Sun Wukong faced off in an epic battle that shook the very heavens. The two warriors were evenly matched, their blows creating shock waves that rippled through the clouds. Sun Wukong used all his tricks, transforming into various animals and objects to confuse his opponent. But Erlang Shen's third eye saw through every disguise, and he countered each of Sun Wukong's moves with skill and precision. The battle raged on for days, with neither side willing to give an inch. But in the end, it was Sun Wukong's cunning that gave him the upper hand. He created clones of himself, each one identical to the original, and surrounded Erlang Shen from all sides. Overwhelmed by the sheer number of opponents, Erlang Shen was forced to retreat. With each victory, Sun Wukong's confidence grew. He had defeated the greatest warriors heaven had to offer, and he was still standing. The gods, for all their power, could not subdue him. The Monkey King was invincible. But as Sun Wukong celebrated his triumph, he knew that this was only the beginning. The Jade Emperor would not rest until he was brought under control. But Sun Wukong was ready. He would fight, he would resist, and he would show the gods that he was their equal. No, their superior. The rebellion of the Monkey King had shaken the very foundations of heaven. With each victory, Sun Wukong's name echoed louder across the realms, and the Jade Emperor knew that the time for half measures had passed. This was no ordinary troublemaker. This was a force that could challenge the order of the universe itself. In the highest hall of the Jade Palace, the Jade Emperor summoned his most powerful gods and warriors. The air was thick with tension as they assembled, their expressions grim. Among them were Erlang Shen, the three-eyed warrior who had already faced the Monkey King and lived to tell the tale, and Nezha, the young and fierce deity known for his unmatched skill in battle and his magical weapons. The Jade Emperor's voice, usually calm and serene, now carried a weight of urgency. Sun Wukong, the so-called great sage equal to heaven, has defied our authority for too long, the Jade Emperor declared. His rebellion threatens the very balance of heaven and earth. We must bring him to justice. This time, there can be no retreat. Erlang Shen stepped forward, his eyes blazing with determination. "I will face him again, Your Majesty, and this time I will not fail." Nezha, with his fiery spear in hand and his mystical red ribbon fluttering behind him, nodded in agreement. "Together, we will bring this arrogant monkey to his knees." The Jade Emperor gave the order, and the celestial armies, led by Erlang Shen and Nezha, prepared to descend upon Flower Fruit Mountain. The sky above the mountain darkened as clouds gathered, crackling with divine energy. The heavens themselves seemed to tremble as the gods marched to war. Sun Wukong, standing on the peak of his mountain, saw the approaching storm and grinned. He knew that the gods would not give up easily, but he was ready. With a mighty roar, he called forth his own army of monkeys and beasts. The ground shook as they rallied to their king, their eyes filled with the fire of defiance. Sun Wukong raised his magical staff, the lucky stick, and it expanded to the size of a towering pillar, glowing with a golden light that pierced the heavens. The battle began with a deafening clash as the celestial soldiers descended from the skies. Erlang Shen charged at Sun Wukong, his third eye blazing with power, while Nezha darted through the air like a comet, his spear aimed straight at the Monkey King's heart. But Sun Wukong was ready for them. He spun his staff with blinding speed, deflecting Erlongshun's strikes and knocking Neja's spear aside. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a wave of energy that sent the celestial soldiers flying. The battlefield erupted in chaos as Sun Wukong used his shape-shifting abilities to outmaneuver his enemies. One moment he was a massive lion, roaring with fury. The next he was a swarm of bees, stinging and confusing the gods. Erlongshun, undeterred, summoned his hound, a fearsome creature. With the strength of 1,000 beasts, the hound lunged at Sun Wukong, its jaws snapping like thunder. But the Monkey King leaped into the air, transforming into a giant eagle. He soared above the battlefield, his sharp eyes scanning for weaknesses in the celestial ranks. Neja, seeing his chance, unleashed his fiery wheels, spinning them with such speed that they became a blur of flames. They chased after Sun Wukong, cutting through the air like blazing discs. But Sun Wukong was too quick. He dived and twisted, the flames missing him by mere inches. He landed on the ground, resuming his true form, and with a powerful swing of his staff, he struck the wheels, shattering them into sparks. The gods and warriors of heaven fought with all their might, but Sun Wukong was an unstoppable force. His laughter echoed across the battlefield as he outwitted and outmaneuvered every opponent. Even the combined power of Erlongshun and Neja could not bring him down. As the battle raged on, Sun Wukong's confidence grew. He had faced the greatest warriors of heaven and had not only survived, but triumphed. With a fierce determination, he turned his gaze toward the Jade Palace itself. With a mighty leap, Sun Wukong soared into the sky, heading straight for the heart of heaven. The gods tried to stop him, but he was too fast, too strong. He broke through their ranks and landed in the Jade Palace, his staff crackling with energy. Inside the palace, chaos erupted. The celestial attendants and guards scrambled to defend their home, but Sun Wukong was like a whirlwind, his staff striking with the force of 1,000 storms. He smashed through walls, toppled statues, and sent the heavenly treasures flying in all directions. The palace, once a place of serene beauty, was now a scene of utter destruction. The Jade Emperor watched in disbelief as his palace was torn apart by the enraged Monkey King. For the first time, the ruler of heaven felt a pang of fear. Sun Wukong, standing amidst the ruins of the palace, his chest heaving with exertion, raised his staff in triumph. "I am the great sage equal to heaven," he shouted, his voice ringing out across the heavens. "No one can stand against me, not even the gods themselves." But as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, a silence fell over heaven. Sun Wukong, despite his victory, sensed that something had changed. The rebellion had reached its peak, but the war was far from over. And somewhere in the vastness of the universe, a power even greater than the gods was watching, waiting for the right moment to intervene. The ruins of the Jade Palace still smoldered under the light of the sun as Sun Wukong stood victorious, his magical staff resting on his shoulder. He had faced the greatest warriors of heaven, brought chaos to the celestial realm, and proven himself to be the mightiest of all. His laughter echoed through the skies, a sound that filled the gods with dread. It seemed that nothing and no one could stop the Monkey King. But as Sun Wukong reveled in his triumph, the skies above began to change. The brilliant blue slowly faded, replaced by a calm golden light that enveloped the heavens in a warm, soothing glow. The winds, once fierce and wild, stilled, and a profound silence fell over the battlefield. Sun Wukong looked up, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. This was no ordinary light, no simple change in the weather. He could feel a presence, vast and serene, unlike anything he had encountered before. And then, from within that golden light, a figure emerged, floating gently down from the sky. It was the Buddha. The Buddha, clothed in simple robes that shimmered with divine radiance, descended with a grace that made the very air hum with peace. His face was calm, his expression one of infinite compassion and wisdom. As he approached, even the most ferocious of Sun Wukong's enemies lowered their weapons, their hearts filled with awe and reverence. Sun Wukong, however, remained defiant. He had bested the gods. Surely this being, no matter how powerful, was no different. He tightened his grip on his staff, ready for yet another battle. The Buddha landed softly before Sun Wukong, his feet barely touching the ground. He looked at the Monkey King, not with anger or fear, but with a gentle smile. Sun Wukong, the Buddha said, his voice like a clear stream flowing through a tranquil forest. You have caused much trouble in heaven, but I do not come to punish you. I come to offer you a challenge. Sun Wukong raised an eyebrow, intrigued but not yet convinced. A challenge? And what might that be? The Buddha extended his right hand, palm facing upward. It was a simple gesture, yet it seemed to carry the weight of the universe. If you can escape from the palm of my hand, I will declare you the victor, and you will be free to do as you please. But if you cannot, then you must admit defeat and submit to the will of heaven. Sun Wukong laughed, the sound sharp and confident. Is that all? You underestimate me, Buddha. I can fly to the ends of the universe in the blink of an eye. Escaping your palm will be as easy as swatting a fly. Without another word, Sun Wukong shrank down to the size of an insect and leaped onto the Buddha's palm. With a powerful kick, he launched himself into the sky, soaring faster than the speed of light. He flew past stars and planets, through galaxies and dimensions, pushing himself to the very limits of his speed and strength. He traveled farther and farther, determined to leave the Buddha's hand far behind. After what felt like an eternity, Sun Wukong finally stopped. He had reached the edge of the universe, a place where the stars grew faint and the darkness of the void stretched endlessly before him. He turned around, a triumphant grin on his face, certain that he had won. But as he looked down, his heart sank. There beneath him was the Buddha's palm, as vast and as calm as ever. He had not escaped at all. He had been within the Buddha's hand the entire time. Sun Wukong's confidence wavered. How could this be? He had flown to the ends of the universe, and yet he was still trapped. He tried again and again, flying in different directions, using every trick and transformation he knew. But no matter what he did, he could not escape the Buddha's palm. Realization dawned on Sun Wukong like a heavy weight in his chest. He had been outmatched, not by strength or speed, but by wisdom and understanding. The Buddha's power was beyond anything he could comprehend, and there was no escaping it. With a sigh of resignation, Sun Wukong returned to his original size and knelt in the center of the Buddha's palm. I concede, he said, his voice quiet but clear. I cannot escape your hand. The Buddha smiled, not with triumph, but with gentle compassion. You are powerful, Sun Wukong, and your spirit is strong. But even the greatest strength has its limits. Now it is time for you to reflect on your actions. With a wave of his hand, the Buddha brought Sun Wukong back to the mortal world. There, in a quiet valley surrounded by towering mountains, the Buddha placed his palm on the ground. The earth trembled, and a massive mountain sprang up from the ground, its peak reaching into the clouds. At its base, Sun Wukong found himself pinned, unable to move, trapped beneath the weight of the mountain. This mountain will hold you, the Buddha said, until the time comes when you have learned the lessons of humility and wisdom. Only then will you be free. Sun Wukong, though trapped, did not despair. His spirit, though humbled, was not broken. He looked up at the sky, the fire of determination still burning in his eyes. One day, he vowed, I will break free from this mountain, and when I do, I will continue my journey. But until then, I will wait, and I will learn. And so the Monkey King was left beneath the mountain, where he would remain for many years. But his story did not end there. For Sun Wukong's journey was far from over, and the lessons he would learn in the days to come would shape him into a hero whose name would be remembered for all time.